Speaking of space, considering that this new Fantasyland was announced without the ride, what was it like trying to integrate it into an existing design?
Are you talking about just the seven?
The area was announced, but, it was a movie thing.
I mean, I think with that, it's just part of the creative development process. Everything is always changing.
It's always in flux.
It's always changing, and I think even as Imagineers, it can be like the night before, and we're still like looking at each other, like, maybe we should have done this, we should have done that, or maybe a different color. So I mean, I think that just goes back to that creative development process and always looking at adding or changing things.
And usually, and again, like Marty Scholar said this in some of his presentation, sometimes we have ideas that we start and then we think, well, maybe we should go in this direction, and we go that way for a while, and then some ideas that we've developed earlier seem like a better one later on in the development time. So things get switched around occasionally as we're evolving.
Just because of the context of it.
Yeah.
So with
how it's oriented in terms of like the entrance being across. I mean, I guess it's basically the entrance to Fantasy Forest. Is that it?
Yeah. Once you go through the gateway, we wanted to. We had New Fantasyland all to the back side of that, and we wanted to orient. So as you come through the new gateway, you can see almost all the attractions from that entry. And then it would be easy to find the entry of the mine train off to the one side. But we also, aesthetically, we wanted to have a little glimpse of the cottage, and then you see the mountain, and the same thing, you see a little bit of Prince Eric's castle in the distance, and just from certain vantage points, you'd be able to see a number of the elements. And
that's really the importance of that, when you really look at that castle wall, the importance of it, of really being one, that architectural barrier between New Fantasyland and the Enchanted Forest, but also to give you that sense of entrance that we are entering into the being that gateway. So pretty significant, I think, to Dave's point, is to be able to just see everything from that point of Enchanted Tales Bell to be our guest restaurant, and you can even see kind of over the hill Prince Eric's castle. So it's being able to really envision that entire forest.
Can you talk a little about the color? Because you're talking about bringing the inspiration from the movie, and that movie is notoriously sort of pastel, muted type thing. What was that a challenge? Because for an attraction, you generally think, let's make this thing pop.
Yeah, that's a good point. When we look at that, when we're bringing it to real world to you, it has to work. It's an interesting transition, and sometimes you sample color and say, well, it's a little bit too saturated for this story. This is a little bit more of a, it's the dwarfs world. It's a little bit more rustic. It's more handmade. So color-wise, we base almost all the cottage, all that is based on the classic film, all the props, some of the mine cars, the dwarfs' costumes and their horse, what their clothes that they wear, colors of the jewels, all those things are based on the film. But the amount of saturation and how that all works together in the whole, you've got to kind of work with and experience. That's why we do a lot of the we do dimensional, we do computer models, but we also do the traditional dimensional models so that we can play around with color and lighting and things like that in those models.
And the other really interesting piece of it in regards to the color is even just the rockwork itself. So if you really notice, you can even kind of tell the difference between the rockwork of the Be Our Guest restaurant compared to the rockwork of Under the Sea Journey of the Little Mermaid. But if you even pay more attention, you can even see how the rockwork itself changes and evolves around the Seven Dwarfs Mine Train.
So if you walk around, to Diego's point, as you walk around and progress, we wanted it to work as a separate look. If you look at the style, the Be Our Guest rockwork is much more sheared edges and cliff-like. Mermaid, of course, is much more wind and water, weather, like the ocean shore, and then our rockwork is like the film, bigger boulders, more rounded. But color-wise, as you progress around too, we had a base color palette on the mine rockwork, but then as across from whatever the neighbor is, as you go around, you'll notice that some of that coloring from the neighboring rockwork kind of pulls into ours as well. So that's how we integrate it in to the land, because of it being such a central location in the new land. So.
Now that it's been open for a while, I mean, is there something that you think that should have been added that's not in the attraction?
That's a good question.
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, we're constantly looking at, there are things that we go back and fine tune a little bit, and we haven't really changed anything major out, other than, we go back and occasionally adjust lighting, we occasionally adjust some of the finishes here and there. We've had a couple cases where we go back and mainly lighting areas that might not have been lit to where, that's all I can think of right now,
But I can't think of really anything that we've had to go in and tweak. I mean, to Dave's point being that it's a brand new attraction, so yeah, there's a couple of little tweaks that we've had to make with it, mostly lighting, like you were saying.
Yeah,
but
it's kind of fine tuning it as you, now that you have this whole thing finished and you're up and looking at it, and you can go back and be away from it and go back with a fresh eye. You occasionally see something that you adjust and fine tune. It's a good question, though.
Now you ask something.
Have you guys all been on it a number of times?
I haven't been here in a long time.
Oh, yeah.
And I come from New York. I
okay.
got here Friday night. I came in late Thursday, and then Friday I lived it here. So Friday was my first day in the park. So I did get to ride it once then, and I rode it again last night. I haven't really seen it so much. Last night was the first time I went to the queue because I did Fast Pass the first time. So I haven't really seen it much in daylight, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Especially after today's presentation, I wish I had more daylight to see
might
it.
actually. Well, now it's probably
It's
a little bit dark. But
Unfortunately, no park admission right now. But
there are a lot of, as you saw in this show presentation, there are a lot of details, and we really enjoy that, and we try to, again, immerse the guests as much as possible in the whole world of the dwarves, and the longer you stand there and look at things, we want you to discover things you may not notice right away on a first pass, so there's all different levels.
Probably one of my favorite parts is how it even gives us a completely new look at Cinderella Castle that we've never really paid attention to. When you're in, Gaston's village area, because typically, we would just kind of walk under the castle, give it a quick glimpse, and just kind of go over to the carousel or any of the attractions. Now, when you're standing there by Prince Eric's castle and you're able to turn around and actually see Cinderella, it gives you a completely different view of it, which is awesome.
That was interesting as we were building the new land too. You just started seeing
I
these
also appreciated the view of the Beast Castle from the attraction as well.
That's pretty
especially
neat.
at night.
And that was one of the reasons, if you looked at that CGI that we put out there, it really helps us with those different sight lines as we're building it. And it was pretty amazing when we finally got that first footage with the CGI, and it was like, oh my goodness, how accurate is this? It was pretty neat.
Thanks so much for your time, guys.
Thank you.